So change in higher education is really hard and it's really complex. For those of you in higher education, you know there's people, there's politics. There are so many things to consider about your own context. So some might call this change in higher education an adaptive challenge. Now, an adaptive challenge is a challenge for which there is no one single technical solution. Now, there's a framework called collective impact that's often really useful for thinking about adaptive challenges. And in a nutshell, collective impact is really about bringing together a whole bunch of different people, different organizations to solve a problem. Now, what's interesting about collective impact is that while it's been around for quite a while, like I think since the early 2000s, there aren't really great examples of successful implementations and especially not successful evaluations of collective impact initiatives. So this is the reason I'm excited to share with you that together with my colleague, Thema Monroe-White from Berry College, I've written a paper called Collective Impact in Action. And it's in the Advances in Engineering Education journal. And in this, we provide a case study, Pathways to Innovation program, that really looks at a successful implementation and an evaluation of a collective impact initiative. So I definitely encourage you to read the paper, but for now what I'm going to share with you is the 5 core conditions that you have to take into consideration whenever you're designing a collective impact program. So first of all, there's the common agenda, which kind of makes sense, right? So you want to gather people together around a common agenda. There has to be a sense of enthusiasm, passion, a sense of urgency. As we were working on the Pathways program, what we found was that teams that came together under this common agenda felt a real sense of camaraderie and support with each other. Really made the common agenda kind of make sense and worthwhile. The second is mutually reinforcing activities. Now this one's a little bit tricky and often misunderstood. What this essentially means is, of course, it's an adaptive challenge, right? So everybody approaches it a little bit differently. And so you have to approach it with that in mind. And so what we provided Pathways teams with was a landscape tool that helps them really think about their own campus context. And then a planning tool, an agile planning process called strategic doing, which then helps them define and develop their own plans based on their context and based on assets in that context. And you see actually when you look at our paper that the different case studies that are in the paper show you all of the different kinds of successful outcomes that came out of these mutually reinforcing activities. The third one is continuous communication. And what is great about this is it really gives a sense of support as well as accountability. So the peers come together and they kind of hold each other accountable for really getting their work done. And also they really support each other and they learn from each other. Now, the fourth condition is backbone support. Now, of course, it's really hard to do an initiative like this without an organization that can really support the work of the different team members that are a part of it. And so it's really critical that somebody's able to provide the technical infrastructure and all of the other pieces just to make it happen. However, the other really important piece about the backbone is that it provides a sense of validation, really, for the work that's happening. And so as a part of this initiative, we had the National Science Foundation providing the funding and VentureWell and Stanford supporting this work. So when teams went back to campus, they really felt that they could say, you know, I'm working on this initiative, it's really important. And that really helped them move their work forward. And then the final condition, shared measurement. Now this is important on a couple of levels. First of all, it helps the teams see their progress. So again, kind of gives them this forward momentum and encourages them to keep going. But as the backbone organization, it also helped us to see if they were making progress and if not, what we might do about it. So that's just a little bit about collective impact and how we used that framework to design the Pathways program and evaluate the Pathways program. To learn more, I encourage you to read the paper, which also includes 9 great case studies from 9 of the Pathways institutions. So they may also give you some ideas about how to implement and integrate innovation and entrepreneurship on your campus.